Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to get on the YZ80 crankshaft. We're going to do that, we're going to run it start to finish. We've got to modify this one because it doesn't have the thrust washers. So we'll be using a spot mill and a regular end mill. The regular end mill will be used to do the preliminary cut. Spot mill will come down and completely flatten that so that it there'll be no, won't be concave, won't be convex, be completely flat. We'll be taking 1 millimeter, 40 thousandths, and actually and a little bit, because we need to make sure that we've got 16 to 19 thousandths big end side clearance. So we'll be taking, about 6 extra thousandths out of each side. So about 46 thousandths total on each web. And that should give us what we need. I usually cut it a little bit shy just in case I'm a little off on my measurement so that I don't go too far. I can always go back in, cut just a little bit off if I have to, and I usually end up having to just to make sure. I just don't want to mess them up. But anyhow, from 1977 up on the GT80, the YZ80, whatever else was in there that uses the same engine, 77 up doesn't have to have the modification. They've already got the thrust washers. So the rest of them do need it if you have, if the crankshaft has gotten water in it and has corroded or rusted. If you're lucky and it doesn't have any problems in there, you can just go back, put a new rod in if you need it, a new bearing and a pin, and go for it. If it lived this long, it's going to live a lot longer. So only if you've got problems down there, rust on the surfaces that the rod rubs against, then you're going to have to do it. And it's not a big deal. I'm satisfied that's what Yamaha did on their newer ones. So, if you can find one of them new crankshafts, that'd be a great thing, but I imagine you'd pay through the nose for them. So after that, we'll go ahead and build it, and we've got all the criteria that we need for putting it back together. So other than that, we'll be on the lathe, we'll be on the press, and we'll be up at the bench putting it together. So let's get to it. Okay, this is what we've got. Looks like we've had a little water. Doesn't look too bad over here. The seal area, not all that great, but that might clean up. Maybe some crocus on the lathe. You can see it's been in some water. The ends are good, and the threads are good on both ends. And I really think that the rod is probably okay, but I'm not sure. We won't know till we get there. But we've got a bearing here we've got to get off also. So we'll put the bearing splitter on here. Okay, this should just start getting under it. That is our hope anyway. Okay, starting to move. Okay, I've got an aluminum pusher here. I'm going to reach underneath here, and I've got the rod out of the way. It's toward the back. Oh, it's going to come right out. Keeping an eye on my rod back there. Okay, first thing we need to do here is to check our web width. That's the overall measurement. I do have data on this one. That sounds familiar right there, 38. $37.97. Web at the pin. And let's go about 180. Okay, see that's a big difference. That this crankshaft is it's squeezed together right here. So that's causing an issue out here. It's not straight at all. So that probably was creating quite a bit of vibration. We'll call it 3767 at 180 of the pin. Okay. And the next thing I want to do is take this over to the lathe and see if we can do something about this sealing surface right here. Okay, I just got a piece of an inner tube, wrap the rod there so it doesn't flop around. Yeah, you can see how out of balance that is. I probably was shaking it pretty bad. Now we've still got some damage there. I'm not sure right where the seal goes, so you know the bearing goes up against the crankshaft, so it seals right here where that damage is, but I'm not sure exactly whether it's in between. Maybe we can have him set the seal back a little bit. Oh boy, I tell you, water just really is a pain. Damages so much stuff. The water, it came in the cylinder. This is usually what happens. It comes in the cylinder. It can't get to here because the bearing is there, and it sets right here behind the seal and just eats this up. Okay, we'll just put a dial indicator on here to see. See there, it's about 16 thousandths. That's a lot, because they want you to set it up within about 2, I think, probably closer than that. So yep, that That was not a smooth running machine. Okay, now this is, if you remember back a few months ago, maybe close to a year, we had a GT1 or a GT80, and this is the same crankshaft. And see, there's no thrust washers here. And if this one is eat up in there, we're going to have to do the same thing. What I did was I removed the metal. I think it's a millimeter, the thickness of the thrust washers on each counterweight, and then you go ahead and put thrust washers in it. But if it's not worn, there's no need to do that. So when we pop it apart, that'll be the thing that tells us whether or not we've got to do the machine work. And he's aware of that too, but I just want you to look here now, see always look at the pin, and see this is the widest part right here. So this is down below on the casting, and it's the same over here. So the pin does fill out this complete, if this is set at 38 millimeters, it goes in and is flush on both sides, or near about. So the main thing is the 38 millimeter width, and we can determine that and move it when we put it together. But when we're taking it apart, we're at 37.97, which I'm sure that's within spec, but 180 from the pin, it's 37.67, and that's nowhere close. So that would have to be adjusted. So let's go over to the press, and let's press this one apart. All right, let's see what we got here. I got the rod in the back here. It's really close to what I've got there. I don't know. We'll see what it does. Catch it down below. Not too bad, a little rust in there. And that one might be okay too. Let's go ahead and get our pin removed. Okay, let's take it up to the bench and check it out. Well, I think we can use the rod if we have to. It's not perfect, but it's not terrible. I really don't see water damage there. And the top is kind of like the bottom. It's, you know, you can see some little specks, but there's really not anything there that's going to cause a problem, I don't think. The what happens with these, if they don't have the thrust washers, is they start wearing terribly right here along the face of these, where they match here. And you know, we see a little bit in here. But it's not bad either. We've got some over here. You know, the right thing to do would be to machine it, and you know, that's the thing right there. To machine it and, you know, get that smooth again and put your thrust washers in, so you don't really have to worry about that anymore. Looks a lot better, doesn't it? Let's get the other one set up here. Looks good. It's nice to see all that rust stuff go away. Just trim down some of this to have access for feeler gauge. And then we get into these holes a little bit, so we've got to chamfer them just a little. Thanks, guys. Don't forget the thumbs up. Okay, let's see. See what we got here. Okay, we want right about 38 millimeter. And we want 16 to 19 on our clearance. Okay, I like that. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and build it. Looks good to me. I've got an 18 stuck in there. So, I think all I need to do is just go in here and clean up some of the edges, and then we can go ahead and build this one. Okay, the other thing we want to make sure of is that our pin is within the out of the way of the pin, so it looks good. That's my practice pin or my mock-up pin, but the one that is for it is pretty close. .3669 millimeter, 3660. So just a little bit shy. That'll work. Okay, let's measure this. See what our pin recess is. This is going to be the distance right here and right here to here. So we're going to straddle this. These are the same. They were turned at the same time. This is where your bearing runs, and here we want to make sure that the pin does not interfere with that, so it stays flush or below. So we'll just take a measurement there. This isn't real critical. It just gives you something to make some spacers so you don't push it too far. And we're looking at 23.5 to 24 thousandths. And that's what I've got. I got 23.5 here. So the specs on this thing is 38 millimeter plus or minus 1 millimeter. This is inches, and that's your web to web from out here to here when it's assembled. And your big end clearance approximately 16 to 19 thousandths, and the runout is they want 0.0012. If we can get 2, we'll be happy with that. Usually I can get them a little closer, and sometimes I take them apart. So we'll see. But if we can have it under 2, we're in good shape. So I've got everything cleaned up. I think I'm just going to take these over and run them through the solvent tank one more time, and after I've done some deburring and that sort of thing on this side. And there's what our 2 machined areas look like, and our washers fit into those real nice. You got plenty of room on the outside. These washers measure at about 1 1/4, a little shy, yeah, just a little shy of that. But I'm using a 1 5/16 spot facing mill, so it's absolutely flat. There's no concave to it. It's sometimes what I do on these is I'll take a regular end mill and cut it down, then highlight these with some magic marker, and then take the spot facing mill and run it on down, because it'll be a little bit high in the middle. So once you use the spot facing mill, you're in good shape. Okay, so what we're going to do on this, when I get this cleaned back up, is I've cut some shims. Actually, I had these already, probably from the last one. Yeah, 22.5, something like that. You just need something to keep from pushing that pin beyond this spot down here. So if you're close on that, you're good. And you're going to use those shims throughout the pressing process. All right, I use my my Dremel to to cut this down, and now I'm just using a small file just to kind of finish the job here, so it looks a little better. It doesn't take much. You've just got to be able to get the feeler gauge in there. And it's up a little bit on top of the shim. So we should be good there. Oh yeah. Okay, so I'll take this, all these parts over, the rod, the pin, the bearing, the shims, everything, give it a one last final wash, and then we'll start the assembly. And one other thing we want to do is just check the threads. We've got a 12 millimeter 1 pitch on the clutch side. Everything's good there. And we've got a 12 millimeter 125 pitch on the mag side. and it's okay too. It's got a little booger there on the end, but the die goes right over it. Can't even see it. I think it's probably this little smashed area right here. But those threads will thread nuts, no problem. Okay, you get a little light oil in the pinhole there. And then we're going to take our little shims. To keep from pushing it too far, we're just going to drop those down in the bottom of that, right there. All right. Aluminum pusher. And I'm going to stack that one. I'm running out of travel there. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Everything looks good. Should be good. See? Kept from pushing it too far. There's we're underneath the bearing boss there, so that's what our goal was, and we accomplished that. Now we'll be needing these again, and we'll have to put them back on here with some grease later. But for right now, we're where we need to be on that one. Thanks guys, don't forget the thumbs up. All right, let's get this loaded up. There we go. Just going to put a little extra on this side, right here. Okay, back over to the press. All right, can get into our grease here, and we'll put some there. And just a little bit between each one. There's 3 of them. And go ahead and get that packed down. And get a little light oil on this one. And we're going to use the flat block right here. It's going to straddle the bearing boss and the outside ring here, so we're flat. Move that over a little bit. Okay, just got it kind of snagged there, and that gives us a chance to move things a little bit. Okay, I just used a little brass drift here. All right, that looks good. Yep. That ought to be pretty close. All right, here we go. I'm going to get this, let it up and move it a little bit so I can get to the area here, and you can see maybe. Forgot to turn the light on. Okay, we've got quite a bit of room yet. Let's keep going. Let me get you a little closer. All right. Get between the rod and the shim, or the thrust washer rather. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, I'm a little light there. I'm afraid to if I try to push that with the press, I'll overdo it. So what I'm going to do is take it up on the bench and whack it with a hammer a little bit. Okay, we'll see you up there. All right. These little ones like this, you can adjust them a little like this. I need to get a little room to swing. Because you'd overdo it with the press. We're pretty darn close. We're getting there. Let's give it another whack here. a little at a time, that's what we want. See, that's within tolerance right there. We're going to keep going now. There we go. A good 18. So 16 to 19. That is good. Right on the money. Okay. $38. Let's see where we're at over here. Just a little bit more. So we're spread apart right here. So we'll take that over to the vise and just give it a little squeeze. Okay, so we're about 38, 14. It's not very much, but we'll drop that in. And I got my brass or copper jaws on here. And we'll just give that a little squeeze. Not much. We may end up having to do some more later. Okay, we didn't do much. Being a little too cautious, I guess. Okay, we did some good then. 3808. Okay, 3802. And we're still at right at 38 up here, 37.99. So we're good. So we'll take it over and put it in the lathe, and we'll see where we're at then. And we got a good 18 there. Okay, I'll just show you here. See, we're below, the pin is below the bearing boss right here. So that's good. And the same over here. Just about flush. So that's nice. Now you can see our thrust washers in here. That'll be a lot better. A lot better than the other one. Okay. So I like what we've done here so far. So now it's time to get it in the lathe and see see how close we are on our runout. All right, see what we got here. Oh, that's pretty good. We got a thou over here and about 4 over here, 3 over here, 3.5 maybe. Okay, so looks like right about here. We need to give it a whack. Okay, so right here at our mark. And we'll stick it back in there and see if we've made any progress. I believe we did. I'm seeing 2 here, and it moved a little bit over here. But no, we did. We might have went too far. Okay, yeah, we just about swapped sides. We've got 3 here and about 1.5 here. So that's kind of what we did, I think. Because here we were before, and now we're going to be over here. So yeah, we just about swapped sides there. I remember this with the other ones I did. These are very touchy. You can't hit them that hard. Hopefully it was like a love tap. Okay, you see what's going on now? We got 2 here and 2 here. So we're going to have to let's see, I think we're going to have to squeeze it right here. I'll pull it out and measure it and see what I think. We're either going to squeeze it or we're going to wedge it a little bit. Right here at the bottom. Here's the pin up here at the top. So we're right at the bottom. Okay, we're still $37.99 at the top. We're real close here, $38.03. Yeah, if anything, we need to squeeze it a little, I think. So I'll take that over to the vise and just give it a little squeeze and see what it does. Okay. Yeah, and we made quite a bit of headway, I think. We're zeroed out over here. We're pretty darn close. Yeah, just a little movement. And over here, we got 2. And it's, I'm going to get rid of my other marks Let me wipe them off. Okay, yeah, you get too many marks on there. They're beneficial to leave them on for a little bit until you can kind of see what's happening. But if you get too many on there, it just confuses you. So we're good here, but right there, oh boy, yeah, that's where it is. Okay, we're just going to have to give it just a little love tap. Okay, I think I'm going to stop right there. I got a half here and a thousandths here. So 1.5 should be good. All right, let's check the small end. I think a lot of them call this shake. I've got the rod pulled all the way to the left, and I'm approximately 0 there. Go all the way over, and we're at about 51. 51 or 52. The criteria on that is no more than 78 thousandths. Okay guys, that's just about does the crankshaft. This is going to be a nice one for him. They're always better with the thrust washers. I just don't know why in the world they didn't put those in. Let's get his key back in there. Okay. And I was just going to show you, you probably saw one of them at least in action. This is what I use to cut those. And this one here I use to start it. If you look, you probably won't be able to tell, but there's actually, it's not flat. So it is a little bit, it will be higher in the middle. It cuts deeper in the edges. So I'll run this into my 40 thousandths. That's what we're taking out. 40 thousandths or 1 millimeter. And then I come back in, I highlight the area that was cut by this with machinist Dicom or a magic marker. And then I use a center cutting spot mill. And this is the same everywhere. This is flat. You can see the extra cutter here in the middle to cut the center. Using this makes it easier to cut with this. So I just follow that one down until all the Dicom or the magic marker is removed, and that's just about it. Sometimes I have to come back in and just hit it for a thousandths or two, but that's pretty rare. But anyhow, that's how it's done, and those are the tools that I use. These are about $150 a piece, and but as long as you take care of them, they'll last. So I guess that's about it. The gentleman is sending me some new cylinders to replace the one that had the crack in it, and this here, I guess I'll set it back unless he tells me that he needs that. He might want to build a lower end. I can go ahead and send it back to him. Matt, just tell me what you want if you would, please. Okay guys, there you have it. The crankshaft modification and build. It's like I say, I believe it's 77 up already has that the thrust washers, and everything below that really needs them. I'm sure there's some out there that as long as they haven't got into water, they're all right. What we ended up with here was we had a thousandths and a half of runout, and the web to web was 37.99 millimeter, and our big end play, side play, was 18 thousandths, and the small end play was 51 thousandths. So this thing is ready to rock and roll for the new ages. It's ready to go. Just keep some oil on it. It should be fine. Don't let the water in there. But hey, it was kind of different, this one, because I kind of run out of stuff to do on the cylinder last week, so I filled in a little bit with the disassembly, and I'm sure you noticed that most of that is in this video. What I want to do is, when I do something like that, I want to make sure I have a complete video, so if somebody needs to go back and take a peek at from beginning to end, they can do that without hunting around looking for stuff. And you know, new people wouldn't even know that the rest of that video exists. So I think it's best to do it this way. That way you can see it end, from the start to finish. So hey, thanks for going along on the ride. See you next video.